live any second now. Perfect. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Zach F1 channel, and in today's episode, a live stream, we are live ahead of the scheduled deadline for the Mexico Grand Prix. Now, racing-wise, Mexico, 50-50, we'll see what we get when we get there, but F1 fantasy-wise, this could be very juicy. It's another Ferrari versus McLaren sort of weekend. Who knows who's going to do best? My money? Well, let me go through it, because I do believe that McLaren do look like the top dogs in Lando Norris, because even if Oscar Piastri, who looks like he could get a potential pole position here, does get pole position, 100% they'll be letting Lando through as soon as possible and then trying to block off everyone else. But 100%, from the looks of things, it looks like Lando Norris ×2 with someone else such as Piastri, Leclerc, Sainz. Who you getting in? It depends on your cheap drivers and all of that stuff. And we're going to go over all of that in today's episode. I need to wait for the live stream to actually show up on my iPad, because as you can tell, I'm not in my usual space for recording, so I don't actually have a second screen right now. I'm having to use an iPad, which means I can't see what anyone's saying right now, but I'm just about to get onto it, so don't you worry, I can see everyone right now. Yes, yeah, I know, everyone can see the beard a lot more when it's in this lighting, but we're gonna make do. Hopefully this hotel Wi-Fi does not give up on me. It shouldn't, because I haven't had any issues yet. But anyway, enough of my personal life. Let's actually get into what we want to do. So I'm gonna first off, before I get into like the comments or anything like that. Oh no, is it lagging? No, okay, we're fine. I really want to talk about what I'm going to do to my team, because I think it will help all of you guys out. Realistically, it's either... Oh, no, it's going to be lagging, isn't it? It's either going to be... Okay, yeah, that's fine. It's either going to be Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri with basically what I've got right now. However, the little differential, which I've been seeing around on Twitter as well, it does make sense to do this, is Carlos Sainz, and then you bring in a better cheap driver elsewhere. Let me full screen this, of Yuki Tsunoda, or what really annoys me is I'm so close to being able to get Lawson, but I can't bring him in. But a Lawson, a Tsunoda, an Albon with Carlos Sainz, because Carlos Sainz has actually been looking like one of the better Ferraris. I was very surprised with that. Yeah, hopefully the lag isn't too bad. So basically for me, those are the two options right now. So it's either Piastri with double Sauber or Carlos Sainz. And right now, I'm in that feeling of, if Lando Norris is going to win, then it doesn't matter too much. But we'll see. But anyway, that's what's going on. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm living life at the minute. I'm trying to keep on top of things, because I've been moving about a bit the last few days, and I've been trying to watch practice. It's all over the place, but that's why I remember I was watching practice 2, and I was looking at it because I hadn't seen the news yet, and I was like, why are they not showing the tire compounds? And then I was doing research on it, and then I saw that they were doing a Pirelli like test run for next season's tires, and I was like, hang on, I'm about to make a video on this. None of this data is even comparable, because we don't even know, like, those tires were a lot softer than what we were going to be using in the actual race. So it's like using the old like ultra softs and being like, yes, people are gonna... It's one of those things where you can't really talk about that stuff. But right, let's actually get onto the team. What is the best team for 123.8 million? I believe that's a very similar team value to my team. 100... No, I've got a bit more than that. It would most likely be the Carlos Sainz team. So you could fit in a Lando Norris, most likely. I believe you could then fit in a Carlos Sainz. Let's see how much money I'm left in when I do double Sauber Colapinto with Ferrari and Mercedes. Let's maths this up. Yes, you could do that. So I would recommend going for the Norris Sainz build. And it is because Norris does... He's obviously only had 2 proper practice sessions. Well, 1 practice free. And he looks like he's just growing more and more into this weekend. The one thing I would say to everyone is, like usual, Red Bull doesn't look like an option as a constructor. Max Verstappen doesn't look like an option as a driver as well. Red Bull itself just looked completely out of there. But hello from Natalie, Cesar, and Nika. We woke up this morning in California. Good stuff. Well, good morning to all of you. I'm coming from a bit closer to you guys today. So for me right now, it's 3:42. Normally it'd be 8:42 for me. So yeah, it's gonna be actually nice being able to watch the Mexican Grand Prix, not falling asleep. But to be fair, I can't complain because all of you guys have to deal with the European schedule. It is what it is. But okay, right. Lando Sainz with 2 Sauber's Force. Oh yeah, so I was just talking about that a little bit. I do think it's worth it, and you have to be careful though, because like I mentioned, like always. Oh no, I can see on my screen it's gone really laggy. There we go, we're back. Oh, please don't do this. Come on. Double Sauber is fine, but you've got to be careful you don't get into the pit, because like I mentioned, every time I screw up a weekend, I'm getting closer and closer to being stuck at Double Sauber, which can I ask in the chat as well, is it just the camera that's going laggy? Hang on. Okay, you know what? I can live with that. I can see it's just the camera that's laggy. It's bear with me. It's not the best Wi-Fi, but if it's just the camera, we can work with you hearing me, and you'll be seeing what I'm doing eventually. But okay, right. Hi Zach. Loving your comments. Norris, Russell, Albon versus Leclerc, Piastri, Zhou versus Norris, Sainz, Zhou. So you're really gonna want Norris in that team. So I think Leclerc, Piastri one is out. And then Norris and Russell. I think Russell's nowhere this weekend. He's already crashed, and that Mercedes just doesn't look incredible. Yeah, I might do that. If it carries on, I'll keep it going for another 10-15 minutes. If it doesn't work, we're just going to do this with no camera this weekend. But don't worry for now. I'm sure it'll be good enough. So for me, that means we end up with the Norris, Sainz, and Zhou 100%, because Sainz looks better than Russell, Norris looks better than Leclerc. So put them together, they look like a decent duo. But yes, let me show what my team could look like to everyone. I haven't made my mind up yet. I want to keep Bottas, because Bottas is looking better than nothing. But then it's all about what the practice sessions are looking at. So if we actually have a look at practice 3, because this weekend was very weird. It's all about the practice sessions. Hello Obama. Good to see you in the chat again. Basically, this weekend, because I know Sonoda did well in practice 1 and 2, but it's one of those things where it doesn't really matter if you do well in practice 2 especially. So I need to double check the practice 3 results, because I was just getting really excited about McLaren being right up there. But I'm pretty sure Sonoda's been having a pretty decent weekend throughout. Bear with me while this is extremely slow. Yeah, Sonoda's been looking extremely good, and that's why I'm looking quite excited about this team. Now, Albon's not a bad option, but look at that. That does get me going. So I'm quite excited. Yeah, I know. I'm seeing the results, and it's making me feel like something could happen. Yeah, Nico. So it will either be this team or sticking with the triple McLaren. I haven't made my mind up yet. And also the reason I haven't made my mind up yet. Oh God, yeah. All right, let me turn off the camera. Hang on. Let me turn off the camera. Where is it? Okay, we're gonna have to deal with this for now, because I literally just saw the whole stream go completely bad there. Okay, we're gonna do this like that. That's fine. Hopefully it's back up. It should be fine. But yeah, basically it's either gonna be one of the two teams. Oh, for God's sake, don't do this to me. Is it still working? This is a nightmare. It should be fine. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, this is too... Oh, okay, we're good. This is a mess. Curse traveling. Traveling is the hot... Live streaming and traveling is my worst bloody nightmare. At home, my Wi-Fi is bad enough. This is just as bad. But okay, let's just get into this without the camera. We'll deal with that. All you need to hear is my voice. You won't be able to see this mug for now. But yeah, sweet. Okay, so Norris Russell Albon versus Norris Sainz Zhou. I'm worried about my budget. Zhou with double Sauber, and I have 3 times to use. How much points difference between Sainz and Zhou with Russell Albon? So I think it's going to be one of those things where Sainz will get similar points. So we can't take Cota's points fully because it was a sprint race. But basically, I think Sainz is definitely going to be in the top 4 from what we've seen from him. He looks... I did not click on that. What the hell? We think Ferrari's going to be putting it to McLaren with their race pace. If we've seen them do this before, we saw them do it in Cota. But we also did see that if McLaren didn't have such a terrible first stint, then potentially they would have been able to keep up at least with the Ferraris. Like, you never know what would have happened if Norris was still ahead. Okay, this doesn't want to work for me. That's fine. If Norris was still ahead and Verstappen was there as a threshold to the Ferraris, we might have not seen them get that big of a gap. And then the McLarens come into the pace of it all in the race. Potentially it was a completely different race. So that's why I'm a little bit like, yes, Ferrari look good on race pace, but we've also got to take into account the fact that if Ferrari don't get into that first corner first place, they've got to get the overtaking done. And we now know the DRS is shorter around Mexico now on that long straight, so it's going to be harder to overtake. It's not the best track for overtaking bar that long straight anyway, so it could get a little bit detrimental to Ferrari, and we didn't really see them dirty air running, so we'll see what happens. But for me, I don't think Ferrari are going to run away with it as much as people think. We've all seen practice 3 results. For anyone who didn't see practice 3 results, McLaren look good now. So I don't think anyone thinks Ferrari are going to run away with it, but 100%. You can just see Leclerc in 6th place, Sainz 3rd, Norris 2nd, Piastri 1st. We know it's going to be Ferrari, McLaren's battling it out with Verstappen trying to push in a little bit. Hulk versus Tsunoda. This weekend, honestly, Tsunoda's looking like the more consistent one. Now, you could say that Hulkenberg down in 16th would be better because we know that he's good at racing. We know he could potentially come back and get into like the top 12, which would work for him. But at the same time, when you have a driver like Tsunoda, where Mercedes aren't looking incredible, Magnussen hopefully doesn't get involved with him. Bottas, by the way, in 12th place, not too shabby. That's why I'm saying don't count out, well, at least Bottas. Zhou's a different story. Oh, and also the Alpines. Do not go anywhere near the Alpines. Please, dear God, do not go near any of the Alpines. And then, okay, so, does Verstappen have a penalty? I didn't see anything. Can anyone fact check that? Open up Twitter. It's going to completely crush any sort of resemblance of this live stream right now. Leclerc plus Sainz plus Tsunoda, or Norris, Sainz, Albon? I would go with Norris, Sainz, Albon. Anything with Norris in it instead of Leclerc, I think is the way to go this weekend. We've seen the results, and I do think even if Leclerc had a decent weekend, I don't think Leclerc's winning this race. I would do a poll, but I don't think I actually can on this iPad. Can I do a poll? Let's see if I can do a poll. No, I can't. Oh, it's because I'm on my... I don't think I'm on my actual account watching this. Okay, so we're not going to do any polls, but anyone in the chat can say, does anyone think that Leclerc's going to win this? Because I don't think he's got a chance. He's not been looking amazing in practice 3. Overall, I don't think it's his best weekend. Lobby, 134 million budget. Is that what I'm reading? Okay, I'll get to you in a second. Hulkenberg on Magnussen. Hulkenberg for consistency. Magnussen if you want to risk it for the chocolate biscuit. So I do like risking it at this part of the season. So I would probably edge closer to Magnussen. However, he's been looking pretty good on pace. So if he did qualify in the top 10, we know Magnussen has a tendency to drop further back than Hulkenberg tends to do it. So you've got to be careful with that. But consistently, I still think Hulkenberg's the better option, because if he does qualify worse, he'll do what Magnussen tries to do. But we'll see what happens with all of that. Right, help with 134 million budget. Let's see if I can actually get the team calculator to work for me. because it might just not work on this live stream. But we'll deal with it when it gets to that. It should be fine. Yeah, that is crazy, by the way. 134. Like, I feel like I'm doing pretty decent. Yeah, okay. We're actually gonna use my brain. I mean, I usually do it. But with 134, Lobby, you could, now, hear me out. You could have Norris Sainz, because yes, Sainz looks better than Leclerc at the minute. Biblical Bits coming in, even agreeing with that. Yes, Sainz has a better chance than Leclerc. I actually 100% agree. Sainz has come out of nowhere in this second part of the, well, not second part, the last two races. In Kota he looked pretty good as well, and now in Mexico he's looking pretty nifty, I will say. So with Norris and Sainz, you could completely you could have the best cheap drivers. I'm pretty sure you could do something like this, and Lawson or Sonoda as one of your extra drivers with Hulkenberg. That's what I would do. From what we've seen with Sonoda, I would say do one of each world. So you've got Sonoda, who looks about... you've got Sonoda, who could potentially get a good qualifying and hopefully stay in the top 10. And then you've got the likes of Hulkenberg, who might qualify really badly and then drop off. Then you've also got what Michael said. Yeah, you could do the triple, but the issue with the triple is... it would most likely be Norris, Sainz, Russell, and then Colapinto, Bottas. Let's go over to Limitless team. By the way, I'm not actually using Limitless for anyone who wants to know about that. I'm just showing the teams in the Limitless section because obviously I can't afford to show a 134 million team. But then it would be Norris, Sainz, Russell, and then most likely you'd only have enough money for Colapinto, good option anyway, and then Bottas. Now, that's not a bad option, by the way. That's really good. So, it's one or the other. Do you want to risk it and just increase all of your cheap drivers that way? Or do you want to go for the potential issue of Russell, because he hasn't looked spotless this weekend? But Mercedes in general haven't looked that way for quite a while. So, we'll see what happens. I don't think Sainz will bring fight against Leclerc because of championship. So, that's the thing. I know Ferrari have been talking about this championship, but I think their fight is more of the constructors, and I don't think they really think Leclerc's got a chance. Now, hear me out. If Verstappen crashes out this weekend or has an engine failure, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Sainz second, Leclerc third, then they swap them around. But only if Verstappen isn't in the top 8. If Verstappen is in the top 8, it doesn't matter, because he'll run away with it. It's actually crazy how I generally believe Verstappen's going to be more cautious coming into these last few races, because now he knows Norris is going to be feisty. He knows Leclerc's going to be feisty because they need it. Whereas he could drop back and let them past them, finish 4th or 5th, and he still wins the championship. So he knows he can do this, and I think that's why you're going to be seeing... but that's the issue as well, because it is Verstappen and he doesn't like losing. But he's also very smart with things, and he knows that he doesn't need to win anymore. He just needs to finish these last races. Again, for anyone coming in, I'm showing everyone what I'm most likely going to be running. Oh, my bad. I got rid of Bottas. I was wondering why I couldn't afford Tsunoda anymore. This is most likely one. If you can't fit Russell with 134 million, then you use the cheaper team I mentioned with using Tsunoda and Hulkenberg as your cheap drivers instead. So you just boost that area of your team instead. And then Kevin. So Sainz over Leclerc today. I'm at 127.3 million to compare Norris with either Leclerc, Piastri or Sainz. So here's my thinking. Sainz has been looking okay. I don't think he's going to win the race, but I don't think Leclerc's going to win the race. Piastri, we know, isn't going to win the race. If he qualifies pole and he's 15 to 10 seconds ahead of Norris, come the last lap, he will let Norris pass. So Piastri isn't getting the most points. So realistically, it's another situation of where when it's always a double McLaren look, that's when you go, okay, let's have a look at the Ferrari drivers. And with Carlos Sainz looking so good, this could be a weekend where he goes up 1 million in budget. And not even thinking about budget, it's one of those weekends where it could be, okay, let's get Sainz in because the premium driver doesn't matter as much, because it looks like, not as in it doesn't matter, but as in Sainz looks good, so that means we can put our money elsewhere. Then you could, of course, go for Yuki Tsunoda. You could go for, hell, you could even go for Kevin Magnussen if you really wanted to. But more likely, Nico Hulkenberg. You get my gist. So yeah, I think Sainz over Leclerc. I would, if I could, I would put a poll, but I can't do them on this laptop. I don't think. Yeah, I can't do that on this laptop, sadly. So we're gonna have to do no polls this weekend, which is a shame. I like doing the polls. Right, sorry if I've missed them. Just type them down below and I'll get to them again. Hello, Zach. This is from Nicolaus. I have Leclerc ×2, Piastri, Albon, Bottas, Colapinto, McLaren, Ferrari, with 3 suggestions for swaps. Hello, Meletios. How you doing? Okay, so first of all, the obvious one is bring down Albon to Zhou, and then increase. I believe you have enough money at that point. It's a 1.6 million increase from Leclerc to Norris, and it's a 1.6 million increase to Albon. Yeah, perfect. Hang on, that's perfect, Nicolaus. You exactly have enough. Oh no, but hang on. Yeah, you have perfectly enough to get Leclerc. However, if you don't want to go triple McLaren, which is where I was ending up to, because I was focusing more on getting Leclerc out. Jeez Louise. Leclerc. Then you get rid of Piastri down to Sainz. That's one transfer. Then you got enough money to get Leclerc up to a Norris. And then you've actually could keep Albon. So then that's only 2 transfers. You've got 1 extra transfer for the sprint race weekend. And then we go from there. What your team thoughts? So my team thoughts are as followed. So I actually quite like the look of Bottas this weekend. I'm delusional, of course, because this is the only driver I can afford at that level. Also, for anyone, the reason I'm not in face cam at a minute is I'm actually in a hotel and the Wi-Fi just could not support it. It just was not having it, and I'd rather just keep the live stream going. So for anyone coming in thinking, where's this guy's face? That's why. Don't worry, you've still got my lovely voice. But yeah, for most people coming in, this is most likely what my team's gonna look like. Yuki Tsunoda's look good in practice free, so I'm excited about him. He's my Hulkenberg of the weekend. Hopefully he can qualify well and just stick there. There are no penalties that I've heard of so far. Verstappen looks like he's fine. No one's questioned that. We can actually have a look with each other. If we go onto Twitter, we can actually go to F1. Where is it? F1. This is where we would find. I love how it gets. You can tell. You can tell I'm an F1 fantasy content creator, because when I search up F1, it doesn't come up with F1. It comes up with the other F1 fantasy guys. You gotta love it. Shout out to all of them. You just saw all of their names. But from what we've seen, I can't see anything related to any penalties right now. So, basically, it means we're going Ferrari, McLaren. Now, of course, it could end up being different come qualifying, but, that's just something you have to deal with when it comes to that. You can never guess if there's going to be a penalty after qualifying. Leclerc or Norris, I'd go for Norris. And I think the gist of it so far, Mads, is that we're agreeing that Norris and Sainz looks like the pairing this weekend. If you want to go for the differential, now, I keep on not talking about this team, but you can still go for the Piastri team. And now, this is why I talk about the Piastri team, because a lot of you, like me, might have had Piastri coming into Kota. Now, free transfers coming into a sprint race weekend in Brazil would be very useful. So if you want to talk long Piastri, stick with Piastri. However, if you want to go for maximum points right now, go for the potential Sainz and better cheap driver mix. But this is the thing. because like we know, you can do one free transfer. So you could go to this. You could go one free transfer, and then you got free transfers for Brazil. But if you use all the 2 free transfers, you could be in a situation where if I do this, yeah, which is still most likely what I'm going to do, I will then have to, next weekend, hope, okay, that everything's not gone up too much in value. And then I go, okay, boom, boom, and then I'm back to normal. But there is that issue of, ooh, what if Leclerc goes up 0.2 million again, and all of a sudden I can't afford it? And he's looking very good in Brazil. So just be careful with those sorts of little things. But realistically, if you can do a 2 for 2 change and then 2 for 2s it again, you're going to be completely fine. So I doubt anything bad would happen. But actually, yeah, I'm going to leave my team like this because this is literally what are the 2 disappearing factors in my team. The rest of this part is exactly what it's going to be like. Chips wise, I don't think I'm going to use anything else. Yes, so Chillmiss, YT, yeah, posted on X that no penalties for Max. Yeah, no surprises there. I know they were fiddling about with Max's car, but I would have been surprised if he did have another thing. Also, I just want to say before we talk more F1 Fantasy stuff, thank you all so much for liking and subscribing. We've now hit 1.6k subs, which is just an incredible feeling. We were at 1.59 last weekend. And I was like, I really want to get to 1.6 for this weekend. And you guys just smashed it. So thank you so much for that. But anyway, enough on that. Because we're here to talk about so 3 times Norris, 2 times whoa. So, oh, yes, I remember, Zaid. I remember you had a lot of chips to go, didn't you? But please, I can't remember which. Did you end up using Limitless in Kota? I believe this is the weekend where you still don't use 3 times, though. You go to another chip that you've got left over. But let's see what everyone's saying. If you use 2 out of 3 transfers, the 1 will be transferred. Yes. So if you have 3 transfers available and you still have 1 free transfer left, you'll have free transfers for next weekend. I can't believe as well, next weekend, I love watching F1, and I can't believe next weekend we're going to be watching Brazil, and then we've got another 2-3 week break. It breaks my heart. Hello everyone, welcome to the chat. Everyone who's coming in fresh and hot, who has never seen my channel before, I do usually run a camera, but I'm in a hotel at the minute. It's not really, the Wi-Fi is not Wi-Fiing, which is a bit of a nuisance, but we move on. But hey, we get out what we can. So that's why this is most likely at the minute. It's either Piastri with double Sauber or Carlos Sainz with Yuki Tsunoda. Whoa, yeah, Yuki Tsunoda. Realistically, it's most likely going to be this because I think I can 2 for 2 change again for Brazil, but potentially extra DRS. I think I'm going to wait for Qatar though. But if we get another race weekend like this where it looks like McLaren could be the top dogs, I might just risk it for the chocolate biscuit. McLaren and Ferrari with 1 premium driver, yes. So let's actually talk single premium driver builds, everyone, because I know a lot of you in here have got crazy team budget, but a lot of you as well won't have as much money as like me or Lobi had 134. So you know what I mean. Hang on. Hope you're. Yeah. I'm having a great time, Pedro. Thank you so much. How many free transfers will you have after wildcarding? I believe it goes back to the default 2. Even if you had 3 free transfers, it will just default back to 2. I know it does that with Limitless as well, so I'm assuming it's the same thing for wildcard. So for anyone who's got a single premium driver build, which is basically anyone with less than 120 million in their team, it's realistically Colapinto, someone like Albon, someone like Tsunoda, and then Hulkenberg. You probably want to be going for a team like that because, like I mentioned, Lance Stroll these days, he looks pretty naff. You don't really want to be going near him. Kevin Magnussen, he looks good, but he could be really wank in the actual race, which wouldn't be nice. Yeah, tell me, yeah. You got to risk it for the bloody chocolate biscuit. That's what I'm saying. God. I do love that saying. It's like I've got that, however... what else do I say quite a bit? I think those are the 2 things. I don't think I say a lot else more than those 2. But yeah. Right, sorry. Back to the comments. I got sidetracked. Okay. Oh yeah, perfect. There you go. there's the single premium driver team for anyone who's going for that. What do you think is better? So this is from Pietro. Norris plus Sainz, Piastri Sainz, or Leclerc Sainz, Norris and Sainz. 100%. I think Norris is looking like the top dog this weekend. Reasoning, if Piastri qualifies on pole, doesn't matter. If the race until the final lap is Piastri Norris, it does not matter. Norris will win it because Norris is in a championship fight. He'll be given the points. Now, that doesn't mean Piastri's a bad shout. He's still a good shout, but it means that you've got the differential option of Ferrari, who have seen to have a lot of race pace. However, this weekend, I'm quite a bit worried about if they get stuck behind other drivers, because we didn't really see them in dirty air in COTA, and we saw McLaren still had quite a lot of pace behind cars. So put Ferrari behind McLaren, potentially their pace goes away. We don't know these things because dirty air is just such a killer for those cars. Leclerc Sainz or Norris and Sainz, 100% Norris and Sainz this weekend. And you still can do Norris Piastri, Norris Leclerc, but it looks like it's one of those weekends where Sainz, Piastri, Leclerc could all score similar points, premium driver-wise, with Norris raking in most of the points. And then you've got to get your extra points from the likes of Tsunoda or that sort of thing. You get the gist. So let's get back to the team that I'm most likely going to change to, so people can see exactly what they're coming to see. So Zaid, I have 121 with Norris, Russell, Ferrari, Mercedes. Oh yes, I remember. I do like those. I don't think it's worth it now, Ferrari, Mercedes, but I think there was a few weekends where that could have worked. I can either switch to McLaren, Merc, or stick with Ferrari, Merc, and get Norris. Ooh, see, that's a good question, because McLaren are a confirmed constructor getting over 80 points. Yeah, well, Bodge, I'm not lying though, am I? It could very much be the case. But the thing is, so getting McLaren over Mercedes is the safe option, because that's an extra 20-30 points, around 80 to 90 points this weekend, most likely. Bear in mind, 50 minutes till deadline. We've still got plenty of time to talk about this stuff, but just remember that. Just don't forget to lock in your teams. I normally lock in my team about 15 minutes before these things finish, but just don't forget that. Realistically, the safer option to do, Zaid, is go for the swap to McLaren, but if you want to risk it for the chocolate biscuit, then you go for Mercedes and Ferrari and get the Norris ×2, because realistically we could be seeing a Norris ×2 of where he gets 40 plus points, and then all of a sudden you're getting a lot of points compared to any other premium driver. However, if we do get a race where Piastri's winning and then he gets a swap position, could be seeing Piastri get drive. So I think if you want to be careful, just go for the McLaren Mercedes swap. Okay, so Sainz with double Sauber versus Russell with Albon Bottas. Worried about the budget with Sainz and Zhou. So I don't think you should be worried at all with the budget right now for Sainz and Zhou. I think 100% double Sauber is the way to go, because Bottas, first of all, actually doesn't look terrible this weekend. But the difference between that Ferrari and that Mercedes this weekend, if for anyone who didn't see practice 3, let's bring your attention to this. Russell, 8th. Hamilton, 5th. 5 tenths off the pace, 8 tenths off the pace. They look nowhere this weekend. Now, I know Leclerc didn't look amazing, but I just don't think... Oh, my word. Tommy, you are just... you're the loveliest person of all time, and I really hope that I haven't missed a Discord message from you again, because I have been out all day, and I swear to God, if I've missed another one, please tell me, and in those 5 minutes I have before the deadline finishes, I will get to you. Double McLaren this week, or better to roll with Sainz? I do think it's better to roll with Sainz. I really do think so. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Also, everyone gives Tommy some love. What a lovely guy, man. I just think it's one of those weekends where Norris could win, and then you're going to get either Sainz, Leclerc, or Piastri in second place, but they're all going to be in the top 4, so we'll see what happens. I really do think, though, it's worth a differential, because if they do have the race pace that they were showing in COTA, then we could be seeing Sainz qualify like 3rd and then end up winning the race. And imagine Sainz won the race, then you're getting a 1 million increase in budget, and plus you've still had him in your team. So it's looking like a good weekend for something like that. By the way, apparently that's your 10th super. What a trooper, by the way. That is... oh my god. Just... This guy, man. I bloody love this guy. Okay. Right. Lawson or Albon? Lawson hasn't been looking incredible this weekend. So I would probably go Albon for now. Yeah. From what we've seen from practice 3, Albon looked pretty decent. I do say Lawson was 10th, but the reasoning for that is if you weren't going for Lawson, you'd go for Tsunoda. So if you were going to Lawson and you needed more money, you'd drop down to Albon. So it's one of those situations where if you want to go for his teammate, I know I said actually do not go for Tsunoda, but sometimes the practice results come in and sometimes drivers are just on it like a car bonnet, so you don't need to worry that much. And it's one of those weekends where I think Tsunoda's proven that. So actually, I would say secret third option of Tsunoda better than all three of them, but then Albon, then Lawson. Okay, so Alvaro, McLaren and Ferrari with 1 premium driver, or McLaren and Mercedes with 2 premiums, Norris and Russell. I'd go with McLaren and Ferrari with 1 premium because I do believe that Mercedes are... So let's do the maths here, yeah? So Ferrari will get more than 70 points this weekend. Mercedes are going to get around 50 points, I'm saying. So there's a 20-point gap. Now... what's the point gap between Russell and, let's say you had Tsunoda? I'm estimating Tsunoda's going to get about 5 to 10 points this weekend. Russell's probably going to get around something 20 points. There's a 10 points gap difference, 10 to 15 point gap difference between Russell and Tsunoda. But whereas there's a potentially a 20 to 30 point gap for the constructors, and that's why I think that it's better, if you can't afford it, to stick with the 1 premium and take the McLaren and Ferrari. I actually really surprised myself with how well that was put by me, but yeah, that's exactly why I think that. Hey Desux, how you doing, man? 1.5k recently thinking on differential teams to break 400 point gap to leaders. Yeah, 100%. Last race did the 3 times Ferrari, Colapinto, Albon, Lawson. Oh my god, that is incredible. This race, I don't know. Max Sainz maybe, but I wouldn't go Max. I don't think he's been looking very good this weekend. But Merckx and Albon's crash shifted everything for. So I would say you would still be able to risk it right now if you were still going for the triple Ferraris, because their race pace, as we've seen in COTA, looks pretty good. However, just be careful because McLaren's look like they will qualify higher. And like I mentioned, if they're in dirty air, we don't know what their pace is going to be like behind other cars. So I think in your position, you could be... I know it's not a crazy differential because I'm sort of telling everyone to do it. What you could do instead, if you want the differential Desux, is you go Piastri Sainz. Because Piastri might still get driver of the day if he's faster than Norris, but then has to concede the position for the championship. So keep that in mind. So if you want to go for a differential, I would actually say it'd be Piastri and Sainz with Ferrari and McLaren, and then try to see what you can do with the cheap drivers. Albon, so this from Biblical. Albon plus Hulkenberg or Lawson plus Tsunoda. Ooh. I think V-Carb looks very good this weekend. I'm going to go with Lawson and Tsunoda. So this is from Asim. I have exactly your budget. Oh, sweet. Should I take a -10 to get Tsunoda team or your original double salve Piastri? 100 -10. Here's why. So, we're going to go over to the team calculator. Please show me the race results. If it doesn't show me the race results, I'm just going to let you... Oh my god. Tommy, stop it, Tommy. Tommy, stop it. You're giving me too much money. I love this guy so much though, man. Yeah. Oh man, fishing. I will say I do bloody love fishing. It's one of those things where you just get a nice drink, you relax, you just and that feeling when you do catch a fish, especially when it's a big one. But Tommy, thank you so much. That's $15 this live stream. You are a legend. Thank you so much. This guy is just brilliant. Thank you so much for the support. And thank you everyone for the support. But yeah, right. I got stopped halfway through. So who was I talking? Yes, Asim. So the reason is right. So here we can go back to US. So even on a sprint race weekend where drivers get more points, Sainz 42, -10 would be to Piastri. You're only getting a 2-point differential increase. Now, as if we go to a Singapore, which is more likely what the points are going to look like this weekend. Actually, no, let's go to a Baku. Yeah, that's more like it. Let's say Leclerc is Sainz in this situation. If you had Norris, you took a -10. It's basically the same situation. So I just never think it's worth taking the -10s, especially considering those are so close, those teams in comparison. Oh, FP3 sims are out. Lovely jubbly. Let's see if the Wi-Fi can handle this. Let's bloody see if it can. Hopefully it can. We'll see. I'll carry on doing some comments while it's loading all of this stuff. Okay, this is from Simon. Right. Would you go for Norris, Sainz, Albon with a free transfer in Brazil? For Norris, Sainz, Tsunoda using all my free transfers, or Norris, Leclerc, Zhou using all my transfers? So I would, Simon, how much money would you have left over? Because if you have money left over, I'd go Norris, Sainz, Tsunoda, because then it doesn't matter too much, because then you can just downgrade Tsunoda, upgrade Sainz to a Piastri or Leclerc next weekend, and then you only need 2 free transfers anyway. And then if you do not have enough money to do that, like transfer back next weekend, then go for Norris, Sainz, Albon, because that's still a very good team. It's very similar. Okay, right. Where is? No, don't take the -10. Don't take the -10. Stick with the triple McLaren. Okay, so Nathan asks, got Piastri, double Williams, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, McLaren, and Ferrari. Thoughts with 7.7 million. So you're going to want to drop, because I believe you can get in. Yeah, lad, you can bring in a second premium driver. So let me bring up this. So this is for 130 million. Let's let it do its thing while it recalculates. You could, Nathan, drop Tsunoda down to Zhou, Bottas. You could drop Hulkenberg. You could basically go double Williams, double Sauber, and then, well, actually, no, you couldn't. If you had, who's the cheaper one? Bottas plus double Williams, increase Hulkenberg to any second premium driver. I think that's a better option. Or your other option is to stick with the single premium driver build and increase Piastri to Norris, and then work your magic into increasing... no, that's all you would do. And then you'd stick with the rest of your team like that. So, as we can see, it does think Leclerc is going to be the go-to guy this weekend. Now, I know everyone doesn't have these teams, but basically just don't look at the don't look at the cheap drivers, because we know that these cheap drivers are completely fine. Oh, please come back to me. I can see the stream struggling a little bit. Yeah, it's good. It's good. There we go. So basically, all you would have to do is drop down. But I do generally think Sainz is the better option right as of now. So let's get rid of Leclerc in this position and see what it comes to us right now. In this small little moment where nothing is happening. I hope all of you are having a wonderful day, and I hope it keeps being wonderful. I'm very excited for this qualifying. Not just in F1 Fantasy terms, but yeah. It's just looking like a good weekend for F1. Okay, so then we're moving more onto the teams I like the look of. It's either triple McLaren or Norris and Sainz. Now, I would say Tsunoda's the most important one to have. Tsunoda and Colapinto, if you can, you could easily drop Albon down. But yeah, that's basically... We all thought that was what was going to happen. So I'm not surprised with that. Let's see exactly when the time is to... So it's... Okay, yeah, no, we still got good... Oh, thank you all so much as well, by the way. We've hit 1.61k subs. I've just checked my phone for that. Thank you so much for the support. I love it. I hope you're all loving the videos, because the videos have actually been doing really well recently. I've been really surprised with how well some of them have been doing, because I've been doing some of those story videos as well, which I quite like doing. Those are doing surprisingly well. For this channel, which I'm really happy about at the minute. Plus, all of the F1 Fantasy stuff I bloody love doing every weekend. It gives me something to be excited about when I'm at work. I don't like, I can play F1 Fantasy. I could actually fun. I love it. Autopilot this weekend, I would not do autopilot purely because it's not a sprint race weekend. I would save it for either Brazil or Qatar, because we've got 2 more sprint race weekends to go. But if you've got more than 2 chips, Kalula, if you've got like extra DRS and Limitless left to go, then I wouldn't use on this weekend, autopilot on those weekends. Then you could have a look around this weekend if you had one of the differentials of Norris and Sainz or Norris and Leclerc. Gasly or Albon, I'd go for Albon. Alpine look completely out of it this weekend. Okay, where were we on them? Right, yes. Norris, so this for Zaid. Norris Sainz with Ferrari Merc, or Norris Russell with McLaren Mercedes, or McLaren Ferrari Norris with all CATIA assets. I would go with Norris Sainz. I would go with McLaren Ferrari Norris with all CATIA assets. I really do think it's that weekend to do something like that. Okay, where were we? Okay, not sure if you already replied. Yeah, no problem. I probably haven't if you don't know. Sainz with double Sauber versus Russell with Albon and Bottas. Worried about the budget. Oh, no, yeah, I did speak about the budget. Yeah, I don't think you should worry about the budget. I think Bottas should be fine this weekend. Sainz potentially could have a great increase in budget. I do think it's worth going Sainz double Sauber rather than Russell, Albon, Bottas, because the difference between Albon and Zhou is such a small amount. I don't think it's worth it, and I think the difference between Russell and Sainz could be quite a lot this weekend. Norris Russell or Leclerc Sainz, I'd go for Norris Russell, Peter, purely because I don't like the idea of using Russell, but I think Norris is going to get the most points this weekend. Triple Ferrari for differential. You can do triple Ferrari. It's just be careful, because you're going to be coming out of this weekend, this qualifying session, being a little bit nervous, because Ferrari aren't going to be 1 and 2. They're going to be at max 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Now, they will get better in the race potentially, but I think that's too risky, you know what I mean? Because we don't know what McLaren's place really is like in clean air. We don't know how much they could defend around this track, and I think it's too much of a risk. And that's why I think if you, if you put your little fingies into a few different little baskets, see what's going on, like having double McLaren, double Ferrari, then you get the best of both worlds. And then you don't have to worry about if Ferrari do better, then you've got Carlos Sainz as an asset. So, yeah. Also, yes, thank you all so much for helping each other on the chat. I love to see that, because obviously I tried to get to every comment, but some comments I do. John has asked 128 budget recommendations: Norris Sainz, Tsunoda, Colapinto, and Zhou with Ferrari McLaren. Yeah, I believe that's the team I'm running. I'm running Bottas instead of Zhou. With 128 million, you can't really do much else. Has the stream gone down? I've just noticed. You can hear my voice at least, I think. I'm hoping you can hear my voice. I'm going to carry on anyway, like you can hear my voice. Yes, you can. It's just extremely laggy. Okay. Well, you don't need to see much on the screen right now. Thank you, everyone, for putting up with all of this bollocks right now. It's a bit of a nightmare. But, oh, no. Oh, hang on. Are we back? I think I'm still there. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, Piastri or Leclerc? I would go with Piastri over Leclerc. Leclerc's looked nowhere this weekend. And I think is too much of a risk. Sainz looks like the guy to go for, because if we go over to the practice results, if we go over to the practice results, just Leclerc 6th. Then we go over to practice 2. I shouldn't really look at these results because it doesn't matter too much, because it was the test options. Number 4, Leclerc, Ferrari. Yeah, it's not the best option right now. And that's why I don't think you should go for it. So realistically, I think most people are going to be going for the Norris Sainz, McLaren, Ferrari builds this weekend. That's definitely the one I'm going to be going for. So I think, yeah. Or Norris, Piastri. But then you have to have worse cheap drivers. And I don't think there's going to be much of a difference in that sort of situation. Yeah, sorry, Jess, about that. I'm just trying to handle it the best I can do. But yes. Right. Nico asks, best team for 125.6. So that is just can't afford Yuki Tsunoda. So what I would do is go Norris, Sainz, Bottas, bring in Albon instead. I believe you can afford that, Nico, and then you're pretty much chilling. Because on a weekend like this, you can get away with not being able to afford Norris, Piastri, double Sauber, because I don't think it's as important, which is good to see. Zuera, Norris ×2, Sainz, Albon, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Ferrari, McLaren. Oh my god, sometimes I forget how many, how much team budget some of you guys have got. Because Albon, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, all in that team with Norris and Sainz. Crazy. But crazy good. Just remember that. That is 100% a great team. It's literally the team I'm running, basically just better. So 100% stick with something like that. Right, okay. Leclerc plus Sainz or Piastri Sainz? I'd go for Piastri Sainz. Mashui, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Leclerc and Sainz, I just don't think it's the weekend for triple Ferrari. But you could go for something like a Piastri Sainz, and Piastri still has the chance to be looking okay this weekend. And then it could be one of those situations where what's it called? He technically wins the race, but doesn't because Norris has to go ahead of him in for the championship. So then actually Norris would get the win, but realistically it's not actually him getting the win, if you get what I mean. So then Piastri would get driver of the day, potentially fastest lap, all of those extra points that would then push him higher. And I think Leclerc doesn't have even a chance of getting that. Hey, Tommy. So, Color, Albon, Bottas, okay for budgets. Colapinto, 100%. Albon, yep. Bottas, yes. Because Bottas actually has been looking pretty decent this weekend. And I was wondering why. I can see... I'm so sorry for everyone trying to watch the streams and then coming back in and out, because I can see I can see the numbers on my live stream going up, 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 and then down, 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 and I think it's because it just keeps on pushing. That's what we love. Okay, so quick question from Germany: Piastri or Sainz as second driver with same budget, going for the free transfers next week? I would go for Sainz then, risk it for the chocolate biscuit, Sebi, 100%. But like I mentioned, if you heard what I was talking about before with Piastri, he still has a chance to do really well. But I think it's one of those weekends where you just go for the cheeky shot of one Ferrari, one McLaren, see who do better, and then you come out of this weekend feeling good about any result that comes out of it. Now, you could risk it all, go for the triple McLaren. However, I don't think there's enough points on offer, especially for Piastri, to prove up to show up Sainz by that much. So I don't think it's worth doing something like that. Okay, right, everyone, don't forget to lock in your teams. We are now 29 minutes before. I'm so happy I did that because it wasn't refreshing anything. Okay, would you use third free transfer to get Bottas instead of Zhou? Yes, and here's why, Simon. So I would do that purely because that would give you more transfer budget for next weekend. And realistically, most of your teams, especially the two premium driver teams, looking to go for extra DRS potentially or any one of those chips, you only need to do two changes to your team, and that's it. That you don't need to use that third transfer going into next weekend anyway. So realistically, it's like using your third free transfer right now, Simon. So that's why I think it's okay if you did something like that. 100%, I think that's fine. Because then all you have to worry about is going, oh, Piastri looks good next weekend. Okay, let's get Piastri in. Where's Zhou? Or potentially you can bring an Albon by that chance. But anyway, yes. Simone, thank you so much for joining the stream. Hope you have a great weekend as well. Let's Mexico. The first corner is always great, but look, all I'm saying is if Norris is on pole position, we know exactly what's going to happen. We know exactly what's going to happen. So I'm kind of hoping he puts it in second and then we don't have to worry about that. Because let's get real, he's not keeping that 100%. Norris ×2 or Sainz ×2. I'd go for a Norris ×2. He looks like the most optimum driver at the minute, especially with him looking like he's got the best chance of winning it. McLaren look very good at the minute. I'm going to go with McLaren with C tiers. But which C tiers? I'm planning on using Limitless in Brazil, so this team will be my base team in Vegas. Oh, Saeed, that's perfect actually then, because you get the most transfer increases from C tier assets. So if you put into your C tier assets with Norris, you could go Tsunoda this weekend because he looks good. Hulkenberg, so it'd be Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, and then Albon with Colapinto. You are going perfectly for something like that. And then you get the transfer increases on top of the limitless results. Yeah, you're living life on that. Tsunoda or Hulkenberg. This weekend, I'm risking it and saying Yuki Tsunoda. Because I believe he's going to qualify well and hopefully stick there. Hopefully that's what we see happen. But, you know, we'll see what happens when we get there. But anyway, yes, get all of your questions in because I'm going to be around for another 15 minutes and then I've got to get ready to watch the race. Plenty of time to do that. I'm going to lock in my team in about 5 minutes because I don't think there's been anything suggesting that I would go for Piastri instead. I just don't think there's enough increase in that sort of situation to carry on with the double Sauber unless it's taking a -10, which we did discuss. Then I wouldn't do it for them. Then I wouldn't do it because a -10 is too much. Why do you think Tsunoda over Lawson? So I actually did think I would be thinking Lawson would be the better option this weekend, but realistically, the only practice session we can look at realistically practice 3. Practice 2 was on these different tires, so I don't really trust it. But Tsunoda did look good on that. But I'm trying not to look at those results. It's not going to let me upload practice 3, but Tsunoda was 7th in there. So I do think Tsunoda's going to qualify well, and I do think he can put in a shift, stay in the top 10. I know VCarb need a drive like that to catch up to Haas again, so it'd be very interesting. Imagine he qualifies 8th, stays 8th. He gets 2 points. No, he'd get 4 points for 8th. And then they're ahead of Haas again. That would be ridiculous. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's why I think Tsunoda's a better option. Same with Albon and Lawson. Lawson and Albon look like they could qualify well, but they're looking like they're going to qualify 10th and 11th. Around that area, which is like sort of the no man's land of F1 Fantasy. Because if you're a cheap driver who's around 10th or 11th, you're going to have at least what's it called, Sergio Perez behind you, who's charging, and then you've got a bit of an issue. Does Albon have a penalty? When did Albon get a penalty? Did he get it for the crash with Behrman? I have not. These damn bloody practice sessions are really doing my head in because I can't see the practice. I can't see the practice timings because of the Wi-Fi. No showing there. I didn't see it on the Twitter, but I might have just missed it because I'm on holiday. If Albon does have a penalty, go for Albon. But I didn't see any news on Albon having a penalty. So I'd be surprised if I came across it. Okay, so I would go for triple McLaren in that situation, but I'd actually go for Norris and what's his face, Carlos Sainz instead. Carlos Sainz looking like the dark horse this weekend. Then you've got, I think it's for new parts allocation, but I might be wrong. Let me double check. Hopefully the stream doesn't go down when I'm checking Williams. Let's have a quick look at this because we've got time to have a look at it. If he does have a penalty, then 100% I think I'd actually be changing to Albon. God, it might not load for me. So I might have to hope that. Yeah, I might be sending a few of you on a mission to find out if this is true. Because this Wi-Fi is doing my bloody head in. It's fine. Okay. Norris, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Albon, Colapinto with McLaren, Ferrari. 5.2 million to spare though. Yeah, don't worry about how much money you got to spare. It's always going to be like that with the cheaper drivers. The issue is with that amount of money to spare, the only realistic thing you could do is increase Hulkenberg to Russell, Tsunoda down, Albon down, and then you're looking at that team and you're thinking, hang on, no, don't worry if you're wrong. I just checked, nothing I can see. Okay, yeah, don't worry, 100%. I could see why you could think that because I did see the crash. But yeah, my Twitter's not working at the minute, so I can't see anything on that. Perfect, okay. So we don't think anything's happening with penalties there. So I still think Yuki Tsunoda's the option to go. Jonathan puts, pretty low budget. Should I stick with Norris, Russell, Bottas, Zhou, Colapinto, McLaren, Ferrari, or switch my 2 premiums to Leclerc signs or Piastri signs? I would stick with the Norris, Russell, because I do think Norris is getting the most points this weekend. Lawson, Magnussen, or Nico this weekend, if you had to pick one. Nico Hulkenberg, because he actually might not be qualifying well. And Nico Hulkenberg not qualifying well, then doing better in the race. That is a beautiful thing that I would love to see, which I do think can happen. And also, it's Nico Hulkenberg. He could very easily surprise us and come 7th place, and all of a sudden, boom, he's getting you a lot of points. So that's why. I remember, Zaid, I can't believe you still got 5 chips. Do I use, well, if honestly, with that amount of chips, wild card, just wild card. You need to start using them, Zaid. Because how many races do we have? We have 5 to 6 races left. You just got to pump them out every single race just to put it. Tsunoda or Albon? I think Tsunoda looks better this weekend, Christopher, just from what we've seen from practice 3. Gustavo says, hey Zach, I have 122.2 million. Max, Hulkenberg, Liam, Franco, Colapinto, Albon, Ferrari, McLaren. Should I get 2 premium drivers and get a -10? Depends what premium drivers you can get in. If the premium drivers are Norris and Russell, then I would probably say stick to the 1 premium driver team. And then change your cheap drivers. Where were they? Gustavo, there he is. Then I'd say change Liam to Tsunoda and Max to Norris, and then you're good to go. That's what I would do. Yes, I was worried I wasn't going to have enough left by the end of the season. And then there's people like you who still got 5. What does that mean? So I bet, look, it's literally just limitless from last weekend, isn't it? To be fair, you're going to be seeing a lot of a rise in your ranking in the global ranks the next few weekends. Sides of Russell, yeah, Gustavo, yeah, 100%. Without a doubt, don't go anywhere near that 2 premium driver then. That's not worth it. But I would change Verstappen to Norris for now. Okay, so Tommy says, Yuki, Lawson, Hulk, or Magnussen? This is for a... I would still go Yuki this weekend. It would be Yuki, or if you want to switch it up, Tommy, go for Hulkenberg. No penalty, steward investigation, the collision but deemed that was no further action, but such extent of damage to the car was that Albon was okay, yeah, perfect. Let me pin that for everyone. So that's what we've got on the Albon potential penalty. He does not have one, so that does mean potentially Tsunoda is the better option. Right, 20 minutes to go, people. Am I risking it for Lawson over Albon? I don't think too much. I think Albon looks like, you know, not a differential, but you know what I mean. Like, if you don't want to just go for only V-carb and you want to go for someone else, like a Williams, potentially go for him. But I don't think there's going to be too much of a difference between Lawson and Albon this weekend. But I do think Tsunoda looks good. Hulkenberg never looks good, but I say this about Haas all the time. Haas, half the time, never look good for F1 Fantasy. And then all of a sudden, they just come out of the blue in qualifying and they just get about 20 gazillion points. It does my head in. Like, look at some of these points Haas have had over the weekends. It's just crazy, and on half of them they haven't looked good. That's why I always say Hulkenberg, no matter what practice sessions are saying, he's still a decent option to choose. Okay, so JS asks, need help with my team. I have Norris, Liam, Albon, Colapinto, Hulkenberg with Ferrari, McLaren with 5.5 left. So I believe, right, actually, before I get to that, this is what I'm talking about Haas. Just look, 25 points in US. Singapore, 10 points. That's not amazing. Where else did they do well? Azerbaijan, 16 points. That's decent. Italy, 11 points. That's all Hulkenberg again. Netherlands, 16 points. They're so consistent. And in half of these, they don't look like they're going to be any better than any other team. Sometimes they look like they're going to be worse. And half of that is just because of Magnussen crashing or whatever. So, yeah, just keep an eye on that. I'm going to be locking in my team in 3 minutes, actually. I said 5 minutes ages ago, but I just completely forgot to lock it in. So that's why, for anyone wondering why I hadn't locked it in. Oh, whoops. Don't be showing that. Oh, yeah, I've gone over that. Does Yuki have more potential for points over Hulk? I believe so, just because I do believe Yuki could qualify in the top 10 and then stay there. Bear in mind, I know it was last season. We did all see Daniel Ricciardo get 4th in qualifying last season. So I doubt it's going to be anything that good. But I do think that Yuki's going to get in the top 8 potentially in qualifying. And then if he just sticks there, that's more points than most likely any of the other cheap drivers are going to be getting. That's why I think. Do you pick Sainz over Leclerc for budget reasons, or you think he's a better option? Oh, Napoleon is actually just a better option. Leclerc just hasn't looked great this weekend. Now, he could come out. I remember this happened in Barcelona, I believe, where Sainz was looking tenfold better than Leclerc the whole weekend in the practice sessions, and then qualifying came along and Leclerc destroyed him. That could happen again, but Sainz has looked much better this weekend so far from Leclerc, so I think Sainz is the way to go. It's literally nothing to even do about budget at the minute. Lawson versus Hulkenberg, Christopher. Leclerc or Piastri, in your opinion, and why? Okay, so I would go for Piastri over Leclerc, and here's why. Leclerc, first of all, hasn't looked any. I'm too worried for him. Second of all, Ferrari we haven't seen what their pace is like in the dirty air compared to the McLaren. McLaren still looks good in the dirty air. Ferrari could be stuck behind the McLarens or potentially Verstappen's Red Bull, and then they just get stuck there, and Leclerc's not going to get you points. Third of all, Oscar Piastri's looked blisteringly quick this weekend. He could technically get pole position, stay in first place, get driver of the day and fastest lap, all of those. Now, he won't win the race because McLaren would tell Piastri to slow down and let Norris pass. But with that driver of the day, even not getting the fastest lap, but just driver of the day would be enough points to beat Leclerc. So that's why I think Piastri is a better option than Leclerc. Why? So Anna asks, thoughts on Norris, Hulkenberg, Piastri, Colapinto, Albon, McLaren and Ferrari? I don't know what to change. So Norris is fine. 100% stick with Norris. Hulkenberg, fine. Piastri, fine. Colapinto, Albon, they're all fine. It just is all about what you want to do. What you want to do Ferrari-wise. Do you believe in the Ferrari race pace? Because if you're like me and you think that Ferrari could get race pace, then you go for a differential of Carlos Sainz instead of Piastri. You could easily drop Piastri down to Carlos Sainz and then increase Albon to a Tsunoda or a Hulkenberg if you have more money than that. Racing, yeah, the stream would have just cut off for everyone else. I'm so sorry about that. You will notice, for everyone watching, first of all, you're not seeing my my face, but every time you see the stream cut off, because I can see when the stream cuts off, because I will have about 70 odd viewers or maybe 50 viewers or 100 viewers, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden it will drop to around 30 to 40 and then jump back up. It's just because racing, I'm in a hotel at the minute because I'm on holiday, so it's not the best live streaming presentation, but we work with what we've got. Yeah, enjoy the quali, everyone. No problem. I'll get to all of your last-minute advices. Lando or Carlos? Lando. Tsunoda or Hulkenberg? Tsunoda. Lawson or Hulkenberg? Hulkenberg. 2 times on Piastri or Sainz? Piastri. Isaac, because I just think Piastri has more... he has like tenfold in points he could get, whereas Sainz looks like the driver where... if McLaren don't have that race pace, then Carlos Sainz is going to be the one to do it. But I don't think Sainz is winning. I don't think Ferrari are winning this race. When I mean race pace, I mean Sainz is going to get up to 2nd place or something like that. Right, so before I get to these final questions, yeah, I can see, like right now, I can see the live stream just cut out again for a lot of people because it just went from 70 viewers down to 35. I'm so sorry about this live stream. But, right, as you can see, 2 of the 2 transfers are made. Oscar Piastri to Carlos Sainz. Zhou to Tsunoda. We are locked in. Boom. Scary times. Oh my god. Please confirm the changes. Oh my god. Actually, is it even going to let me with this Wi-Fi? Okay, there we go. Thank god it let me do that with the Wi-Fi. I didn't even think about that. Yes, people, please start getting in your teams. Because if you're struggling with Wi-Fi for any reason like I am, get it sorted. Sainz on Leclerc, Carlos Sainz. Right. Yeah, enjoy the quali, everyone. I hope you all enjoy it. Got Norris, this for Nathan. Got Norris, Albon, Hulkenberg, Colapinto, McLaren. 6 million left with 1 free transfer. I would increase Albon to Yuki Tsunoda, and then you're good to go. That's all I'd do for now. Pacer, hi Zach, what do you think? It's okay to take double salvo with Sainz versus Russell, Albon, Bottas? From a budget point of view for 3 times in Qatar. Now, I think if you want to go... But here's the thing. If you want a 3 times in Leclerc, I think you risk it for the chocolate biscuit and go for Sainz and hope he gets a 1 million increase this weekend. Because there's still that option that he gets that 1 million increase after a brilliant race. So I would still go for the Sainz double salvo because I think Bottas could be getting a 0.5 million increase this weekend with how well he's been looking. What happened to Albon? Albon looks fine. It's just I think Yuki Tsunoda after practice 3 looks like the better option. Lando or Piastri, like you said, Piastri is super quick but not sure to go for. I think the consistent safe option would be to go Lando Norris. But minus 10 for C-tiers this weekend? No, never, Tony, never minus 10 for any C-tiers because the C-tier drivers barely get up to 10 points. So let's say you went from Hulkenberg to a Tsunoda. Even if Tsunoda got 12 points, Hulkenberg will probably get like 5 to 10 points. And then you're losing negative points anyway from taking that minus 10. So it's never worth it. But I still think Lando is the safe, consistent option. But if you want to risk it, say you're a bit lower than you wanted to be in the standings, you go for something with Piastri in it and hope that he gets driver of the day, potentially getting fastest lap. But that's only for anyone who wants a differential. Realistically, Norris is the better option. And then JS, need help with my team. I believe all you've got to do, JS, is change Albon to Yuki Tsunoda and you're good to go. Leclerc or Piastri, I would go with Oscar Piastri, Mohammed. And I believe that is called wraps. That is where I will end it, but I will try to do something for you lovely people very quickly. Where is it? Video capture. Let's try get it working for my last little bit of this live stream. Just so I can send you all off. So, hopefully you can all see me on your streams. Hopefully it's not cutting off, and hopefully it can last for these last 2 or 3 minutes, because it's not been the best, but I've had to make it do. Thank you all so much for watching this live stream. I know it's been a bit crazy because I've just been in a home, but I just want to thank you all so much for the support. We're over 1.61k subs at the minute. You can already see it's lagging like crazy. I can see it from myself watching it, but hopefully you can hear my voice perfectly fine. Thank you all so much for the support. I love doing this sort of stuff so much. And I will be back. Am I back? No, I'll be on a plane potentially on Saturday next weekend. So we'll see exactly how that's going to go. I'll try to do the live stream next weekend. Hopefully, if anyone had any last questions, put them down now. Hope you all enjoyed so much. I'm going to go get ready. I'm going to probably pour myself a drink. Get ready for the qualifying. Pray for a Lando Norris pole position. Well, actually, no. You know what? I don't even want Lando Norris to get pole position. I want him to get 2nd place so that he can't bottle another 1st place and actually try to get into that 1st place. We'll see what happens. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me get OBS will be ready when I get it ready. Like I mentioned, thank you all so much for the support. I hope I could help you out all in this F1 Fantasy live stream. And yes, thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, everyone. I will be coming out with more F1 and F1 Fantasy videos next week, as per usual, and throughout the rest of time. Let's go with that. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.